So it is absolutely miserable outside today, like absolutely disgusting. Thunder, lightning. I will apologise in advance for the poor lighting. My lights are not the best in the world, but I've kind of given up on vlogging outside today. So I thought I would sit down and do our Q&A sesh. So I posted on our community tab about a week ago now, if anybody had any questions, to let me know. Because the plan was to do a Q&A session and answer your questions. So yeah, I'm just going to get up I hope my internet's working actually. It usually works. But because of the storm, I am now questioning if it is going to work. My goodness, it's chucking it down out there. It's gone so dark, so dark. Oh, poor babies. They don't seem to care, to be honest. They've got good rugs on, they're well waterproofed, and they've got food in front of them. If there was no food out there, they'd be getting upset right now, but if it's going to stay like this all day, then they're going to come in very early today. I mean, it's 10 o'clock now, they've been out for about an hour. Yeah, if it's going to stay like this, I'm just going to get them back in once they've finished their food, because it's just not nice. Anyway, I managed to get my internet working. It's very patchy, so I've just screenshotted all the questions just in case it goes again. So let's have a little look at what questions you guys posted for me. Okay, so we've got one here. How did you find your horses, and what was it about them that made you buy them? Okay, so let's think. So Woody, so out of this group of horses we've got now, Woody would have been the first one we had. We've had quite a few horses over the years. We used to kind of like buy and sell, very small scale, but we used to buy youngsters and then sell them on again. So Woodster was bought as a 6-month-old. My mum actually found him in an ad. There was a lady who was buying off of a dealer, like she was buying youngsters from a dealer straight off the field. They were kind of like a breeder dealer, I think. And she had a few like interesting colours coming through. She had some roans and some Blagdens. Really nice, like good quality traditionals. They weren't in, like they were good quality breeding is probably the better way of putting it, but they weren't in the best condition, like health-wise. Like Woodster was so underweight when we got him. But yeah, so he was basically found via a small scale dealer, basically. And we went to see him. So there were 2 horses there when we went to see him, actually. And I still feel guilty about this to this day, because I kind of liked the other one. There was like a chocolate brown and white skewbald there that had, I think he had a blue eye maybe. And then there was Woody. And obviously Woody he was a red Blagden. And both of them were in pretty poor condition. I kind of fancied the coloured one, but Mum, she's got like this really good sense for horses, and she saw something in Woodster and she convinced me to go for Woody. He was actually the first horse I ever bought myself as well. £250, best 250 quid I ever spent, I have to say. So yeah, Mum persuaded me that we should go for Woodster, which I am massively glad that I listened to her on that one, because he is such a lush dude. Like, he is such an awesome horse. And yeah, that was kind of how he ended up coming to stay with us. So we just, I'm absolutely soaked now. We just got the horses back in because the heavens opened. It was like, oh, it was just so wet out there, absolutely horrible. I've just had to change my coat because it went straight through me, so not very nice, but this is why I keep hundreds of spare coats everywhere. Right, so we were talking about, hang on. My internet has died again now, so I'm really glad I took screenshots of this stuff. So we were on, oh yeah, how did you find your horses and what was it about them that made you buy them? So yeah, we got to Woody, didn't we? So we didn't really get very far. So yeah, like in summary, I would say the things that made us go for Woody over the other horse were, one, his colour, because he is a red Blagden. And back when we got him, Blagdens were very, very uncommon. Like, they weren't really a thing when we got him. Now they're very, very popular, very, very common. Like, you go to a show now and there's always Blagdens in the show ring. Almost always. Not always, but almost always there's a Blagden at a show ring. Back when we first got Woody, you just would not see another Blagden anywhere. It was such an uncommon thing. So that was a big factor in it, because he was such a rare colour. And again, it was just that something about him that Mum picked up on that made us go for him over the other one. So yeah, that was kind of Woody. Who was the next one we got? So the next one we got would have been Nell. We got her when she was like a 3-year-old, so she was backed and everything. And Mum actually bought Nell for herself to be like a riding horse. Like she wanted something that was just rideable, ready to go, relatively safe and sensible. Hence she went for a Gypsy cob. And she actually came from a friend of ours who's a dealer. We're still friends with her now. We've got loads of horses from her over the years. And yeah, so Nellie was kind of bought as a, you know, a ready to go, fairly safe and sensible, easygoing, happy hacker type, which is kind of what she's been all of her life, really. But to be honest, I didn't really have much to do with the purchase of Nellie. Mum just bought a horse. She has a habit of doing this. She just likes to randomly buy horses. So the next one who would have come along would have been Stumpy. We actually bought her with the intention of her being a companion horse. So we always had young horses in and out. We quite often would find that we'd go out hacking and we might have like one horse left behind on their own, which was especially bad if that horse that was left behind on his own was Woody, because he has really bad separation anxiety. And so Stumpy was, we weren't really looking for a Shetland pony, but a friend of a friend had just had a baby and she was struggling with looking after the pony and the baby at the same time, and she was looking to like rehome it. She hadn't really advertised it at all at that point, but yeah, kind of like word spread through friends of friends, and we were like, actually, yeah, that'd be a really good idea to have a Shetland pony on the yard. One, because they're freaking adorable and lush, but two, because she'd be a really good companion pony for the youngsters that we were having in and out, and for any horse that might happen to be left behind if we go out hacking as a group. So that was kind of why Stumpy ended up coming with us. And then Blue would have been the last one to join the group that's still with us. And we actually went to purchase him with the intention of him being a driving pair for Woody. So once upon a time, many moons ago, we had this crazy idea of doing like carriage driving hire. So we wanted to get another horse to pair with Woody to do like weddings and events and stuff like that with them, because let's face it, Woodster is beautiful. However, his mind does not make him overly suitable for that type of work, unfortunately. I mean, as he's got older, it's become more and more realistic, but back then when we had the great idea, there was no way. He was just too unpredictable and too dangerous for that kind of thing. So yeah, Blue was actually purchased as about a 3-year-old, I think, again, with the intention of being Woody's driving pair. That was the overall goal for him. So he actually came from the same dealer stroke friend as we got Nellie from. As I said, we did buy a lot of horses from this lady over the years. Got a bit out of hand on occasion. But yeah, we went to see him. Mum saw a photo of him. I think she was kind of stalking him. He kept popping up on these like dealers' websites, and she was kind of stalking him as he was passing from hands to hands, because he changed hands a lot of times really fast, bless him. I think people bought him and then met him, realised how much of a douchebag he was, and then was like, yeah, just get rid of him, get a shot of him. And yeah, I don't quite know how exactly it happened, but Mum really wanted him. And then we got a message off of this friend of ours who was like, guess what I just bought? You're going to love it. And it turned out to be Blue, the one that Mum had been kind of stalking on all these websites. So we went to see him because we were like, yeah, he's the body double we're kind of looking for. I know, so obviously I know he's a blue Blagden and Woody's a red Blagden, but we kind of like the idea of the contrast. Yeah, we went to see him, and he was a bit battered and bruised, bless him, but he was lush. Like, he was difficult, but he was lush. Like, Blue is one of those horses that you just look at him and you're like, wow. And then we saw him move. Like, when they trotted him up for us, we were like, oh yeah, he's coming home with us. Like, absolutely 100% he is coming home with us. So that was kind of how we ended up with Blue. Obviously, the driving pair thing never happened. I've never actually got Blue into a cart, sadly, because we've had so much problems with his feet over the years. We've not done as much with him as we would have hoped. And Woody, because of his personality, just wasn't really suitable for it either. So that dream did crash and burn a bit, but we love taking the boys out riding as a pair. They look so, so good together. So yeah, that's how we kind of found and ended up with the horses that we currently have here now. I'm just going to get my next question up, bear with me. Okay, so the next one we've got is, what is our favourite breed, height and colour of a horse? Oh, there's quite a few on this one. So we've got favourite breed, height and colour, favourite type of stable bedding, and long-term horse ambitions. Okay, so favourite breed, I don't know if I have one specific breed that I would say is my favourite, but I am definitely heavily drawn towards draft types. So obviously your Gypsy cob is considered as a small draft. I love Shires, Suffolks, Percherons, natives as well, like some of the smaller, I mean, I don't know if they'd technically be referred to as a small draft, but things like your Dartmoor, Exmoor, like all the natives and all the drafts are like my preferable horse types. I'm not really that into warm bloods. I mean, you know, some of the Spanish warm blood types are kind of pretty to look at, but I don't get along with their personalities so well. I like something a bit more level-headed. I've forgotten what was next on the list now. Damn my short memory. Height. So favourite height. So again, I wouldn't say I have like a really specific set favourite height. It depends on the build of the horse very much for me. So generally speaking, I wouldn't really go bigger than 16 hands. So Woody is just about 16 hands and he is about as big as I would choose to go. Like I have ridden bigger horses, but I don't find it overly comfortable. I don't really feel like you gain that much from it, to be honest, other than being really far away from the ground if you happen to fall off. Smallest I've ridden comfortably, we had like a 13.2 Gypsy cob in that we backed, but he was built like a tank. He was like really, really wide set, and so it felt like you were riding a 14.2 really. But my comfort zone is kind of like 15 to 16 hands, I would say. But like I said, it depends heavily on the build of the horse. Like I like a nice wide horse as well. That's another thing I don't like about like warm bloods and thoroughbreds and stuff, is they're just too narrow. Like I can't get on with a narrow horse, like a wide horse. Favorite color. I mean, I think, tricky one. I think if I could have any color, it would probably be a buckskin. I love the golden coat color with the dark legs. And I always think that looks amazing on a feathered horse. Like you get a buckskin Gypsy cob, that is like bliss. That is the most beautiful horse you could ever imagine. For me anyway. Favorite type of stable bedding. This is an easy one for me. I love wood pellets or straw pellets. I like them because they are super absorbent and really, really economical. So we use shavings. We use small flake shavings as well to like fluff the beds up. But shavings don't absorb very well. Straw doesn't absorb at all. Straw is a drainage bedding. And it's really stinky and it's really bulky. I find lots of shavings are really bulky and also really expensive. But I mean, we're on straw pellets at the moment because wood pellets got really expensive after the war in Ukraine broke out, because a lot of the timber that is used for wood pellets comes from the Ukraine, apparently. Didn't know that, but I learned that when the prices started to skyrocket and I did some research into it. But yeah, they're super economical. You get very little waste from them. You can semi-deep litter them, which is what we do. So we only take the wet out like once a week, sometimes more frequently in the winter, but usually it goes about a week. There's very, very little waste. I mean, the muck heap we've got at the moment, I was going to see if I could show you, but it's chucking it out, so I'm not going out there. But the muck heap we've got at the moment is well over a year's worth, and it's not that big. I mean, I've seen people accumulate bigger muck heaps than what we've got now in about 2 months by using straw or other shavings. So yeah, it's definitely a win for me. And it's just super, super easy to manage. Super, super easy to manage. Very, very not labor intensive. Long-term horse ambitions. Well, that's a good question, actually. I mean, my long-term horse ambitions really would be to be riding at more high-level competitions. I would love to learn classical dressage. I would love to learn stunt riding. I would love to get to like toys and Horse of the Year show. And I would love to be in a position where we had like a proper decent equestrian facility of some description. Like I'm visioning like a little farm kind of thing. That would be like the top of the pile like most out of reach horsey ambition for me would be to have like some kind of equestrian facility. But like short term, more realistic horse ambitions, like I want to get to higher level shows and I want to learn like proper dressage. Like we've gone as far as like novice, but I always find that the lack of money I have stops me from getting lessons. And so we've not really got any further than that. I probably could if I gave myself a kick at the backside, and that is the plan for this year, is I am going to give myself a kick at the backside and see how much we can actually learn without spending a fortune. Could be interesting. I'll let you know how that goes over the course of this next summer. There's probably other stuff that I'm not thinking of, but yeah. I'd say the biggest ones are that I want to be better at showing and just better at horsemanship in general. And I want to do fun stuff with the horses. Not just like your bog standard going around in a circle. I want to do fun stuff with them. Okay, what's our next one? I need to go to my next screenshot. I was trying to scroll and I was like, why won't it scroll? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm offline and this is a screenshot. Duh. Okay. So we've got queries about tack, saddle sizes. I assume that's referring to what tack and saddle sizes are we currently using, because the next question is, are they short backed as you look tall? So yes, Nell and Blue are very short backed. They are Gypsy cobs. Gypsy cobs are, generally speaking, very short backed. They're very compact animals. Woody is quite long backed for a Gypsy cob. He's not long backed in the grand scheme of the horse world, but for a Gypsy cob, he is long backed. And so he's actually quite difficult to saddle, unfortunately. So as for what, I mean, as I said, I'm assuming this question is asking what tack we use. So Nell wears a, what's it called? It's a... I have no idea what she wears. What is it called? I love this saddle as well, and I can't remember what it's called. That's so annoying. I need to look. Hang on a sec. It's a GFS. Nelly wears a general purpose GFS saddle. It is the most comfortable thing I have ever sat in all of my existence. I love it. I'm always on the lookout to try and find more of those saddles. I actually found one on a secondhand saddle shop a couple of months ago, but I just didn't quite have enough money to purchase it, which was really frustrating because I really want to get more of them. Can't remember what brand, what style it is off the top of my head. Yeah, I'll have to see if I can have a look and put that on the screen for you, but it's just so comfy and it's so old, but it's so, so good. So yeah, Nelly's in a GFS. Blue is currently wearing a Wintec. He's wearing one of the older style synthetic Wintec saddles. I think he's got like the wide or the medium wide gullet in it at the moment. We need to check that actually because we're looking to give him a saddle upgrade this year. It's probably going to be a Wintec again. We actually tried the T4 cob saddle for him, but that actually didn't work for him at all for some reason. I think possibly because he is so short backed, that just didn't work. He's a bit of a funny shape, bless him, is Blueberry. He is a bit of a funny shape, that one. But yeah, that didn't work for him. So Woody sometimes wears the T4 cob saddle. He will tend to go between that and he's got a very old Albion GP saddle, which I feel sits more like a jump saddle personally. It's not the best on him. It's got quite like jump saddle style saddle flaps. Like I feel like they're quite far forward and they do interfere with his shoulders a little bit. So that's always a problem with cobs because they're very short in the body and they're big in the shoulders. Like you ideally want quite a straight cut saddle, I think, so you don't interfere with their shoulders. If I had the money sitting around, then obviously I would get him a better saddle, but sadly I don't. So we've kind of just made do over the years. Stumpy doesn't have a saddle. She did have a saddle before. I don't know what it was, but we didn't have a rider for her, so we didn't bother purchasing it when we got her. The previous owner kept that, but she has a little driving harness. I have no idea what brand it is. It's probably not even branded, to be honest. We got it from some strange online shop. I don't know where. I can't remember. Oh, and bridles, actually. So bridles, again, we don't use like big brand bridles. I think Woody is wearing a GFS bridle, which is actually the least favourite of all of our bridles. It's really like the leather's just not that nice, I'll be honest. Maybe I just got a bad one, I don't know. I don't want to like tarnish the name of the brand at all, but it's the least favourite bridle that we have is Woody's bridle. Blue is wearing Woody's first bridle currently, which was a Shire's, no, that wasn't the Shire's Avemore, that was something else. I don't know what the brand is. I think that was just a non-branded, nondescript one. But then Nelly has the Shire's Avemore, I think it is. It's like the budget Shire's leather range they do. It's really good quality, actually. I used to buy those for the youngsters because they were very affordable, but they were also really, really good quality. Absolutely love that brand. Cannot sing their praise enough. Yeah, and it's really good for when you have lots of young horses coming in that have all different size heads, because it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to get a bridle upgrade when they change shape every few weeks. And yeah, that's kind of it for tack, actually. We don't use any other fussy stuff. We don't use martingales or... But, like, all of our horses are in plain Cavesson bridles with some variation on a snaffle bit. They usually have, like, the lozenge bits. I think Nelly is in an egg butt snaffle. Woody and Blue have... No, Blue is in a straight bar rubber bit at the moment. He loves that, actually. And Woody is wearing a lozenge bit, non-branded. I don't know where it's from. I think it's a Sweet Iron one as well, actually. And then they have Pelham bits for the show ring. The boys have Pelham bits for the show ring. But yeah, again, very basic. We don't over tack our horses, really. What was the next one? Did you ride as a child? Yes, I did. I don't actually remember learning to ride a horse. It's just one of those things that I've always done. There were photos of me as a very, very small child on my first pony, who was called Morris, who I later found out that my granddad got me for, I want to say, my 4th birthday. But yeah, I don't remember learning to ride at all. So I rode from a very, very young age. And how did your love for horses start? Basically because my granddad got me a pony. So my mum always had horses. I don't really remember it that well, to be honest, but I remember having a pony when I was young, and then I used to go get riding lessons and everything like that. But I don't know, I think I was just a mad horse kid. One of those kids who used to run around the playground at school pretending to be a horse. Yeah, I was that freak. But yeah, I've always been nuts about horses. Like, I can't remember a time where I wasn't obsessed with horses. Ever in my life. I don't think there was a time in my life where I wasn't obsessed with horses. Oh no, where are we going? Oh, what's this one? All fun things you and your horse had together, and what is your favourite kind of horse? Well, we kind of answered that one already, the favourite horse, so like the draft types and the native ponies. And all the fun things you and your horse had together. I don't know if I'm reading that dumb. Sometimes I read things and my brain messes them up. I don't know if I might be a little bit dyslexic or something, or maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know. But I don't know if I'm reading that quite right. I assume it's referring to like what are some of the fun things you and your horses have done together? We haven't really done that many like massively significant things. Like the most fun I have with my horses is just going for a really good gallop. Like that is the best times ever, is when we go out somewhere nice, go up in the woods where it's like peaceful and quiet, go for a nice canter, and then go somewhere like with a really long grassy track and go really, really fast. Like that is the most fun I have with the horses. Like I love doing competitions and stuff as well, but I think just going out and going exploring and going fast and just having fun, like that is the most fun times I've had with the horses, I think. The last one we've got on here is why cobs, or are they Clyde Cross, etc.? So, well, that's a good question, actually. I think Mum kind of got on the Gypsy Cob bandwagon many, many years ago when they were kind of like becoming the new in thing. And then I kind of stuck my claws in it and was like, yes, this is the best horse ever. We're keeping this thing going. I mean, yeah, so when she got Nelly, that was no, we did get Woody before we got Nelly. So we got Woody and Bilbo. They were two from that first dealer where we got Woody from, bought on separate occasions. Bilbo, obviously, we moved on. Woody, we kept because he's my special boy. But yeah, I don't know, cobs cobs are just, they're good horses. They're nice all-rounders. They're fairly level-headed, unless you're Woody. They're generally cheap to keep. They're good doers, unless you're Woody. And they're really versatile. They're really nice, kind animals. I mean, the Gypsy cob was prized for the fact that it was hard-working and very, very safe and sensible. Like, it could be handled by the whole family. It could work very, very hard on very, very little. And that, for the most part, is still very, very true. They're really good all-round horses. And with regards, can't speak anymore. With regards to the Clydesdale bit, so Woody is registered as a traditional Gypsy cob. However, you don't really have to know that much about horse genetics to be able to identify the fact that he has a lot of Clydesdale in his blood. Nellie, I think, has a little bit of Welsh cob in her. Blue, we're not quite sure what's in him. He's a bit of a difficult one to suss out, but Woody, he definitely has a lot of Clydesdale in him. The personality, the movement, the colouring, his big old derp face. Like, he has a Clydesdale face, really, doesn't he? So yeah, if we got him tested, like, I'm pretty confident he would come back with a high percentage of Clydesdale in his genetics. But again, that's not, I mean, Gypsy cobs haven't really been an official breed for that long. Historically, they were just mixes of other, like, draft and utility type breeds. So yeah, it's not that uncommon to have a lot of different, like, genetic heritage within Gypsy cobs. I think that might have been the last question, actually. Let's just double check I haven't missed any. Yeah, we've done that one, we've done that one, we've done that one. Whoops-a-daisy. Yeah, so that was all the questions we had on there. I hope that was all the questions that we had on there. I have set my settings on YouTube to kind of, like, automatically block weirdos and freaks. And sometimes, like, the algorithm gets a bit oversensitive with people's comments. Like, I do try hard to check, like, the YouTube's equivalent of a spam box. We kind of have that when you're a content creator. You get, like, the YouTube's equivalent of a spam box, basically. And I do check that frequently to make sure that people who are actually just, like, posting really normal, not creepy things are not getting blocked by this. And then I obviously go and unblock them. But yeah, the algorithm isn't perfect, but I'm pretty sure that's all the questions we had on there. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. I very much enjoyed sitting in the dry for half an hour while I shot this. Yeah, not a fun day today. I started chucking it down again now. Look, it's just absolutely minging out there. Just not nice at all. So, yeah, this is probably going to be the last video of the year, actually, because it is the last day of the year today. My plan is to get this edited and uploaded for you, and then hopefully the rain will kind of bugger off a little bit and we might actually get to finish our vlog that I started shooting this morning that I very quickly gave up on because the heavens kept emptying on me. Yeah, so I hope you guys have a nice new year, and I'll catch you all soon.